Hey, podcast listeners, it's Savannah here, producer of Corporate Competitor Podcast, and we're thrilled to announce our return to weekly episodes. Our goal is to help you grow each and every week. Speaking of growth, most of you know that Don is one of the most in-demand speakers on the public circuit. So as your company is preparing an upcoming gathering, I wanted you to know about his newest and most popular keynote on the art of storytelling. Don teaches you how to connect deeply with any audience, big or small. You can now move beyond mere numbers and engage stakeholders with stories that resonate and inspire. Remember, this skill is teachable. Harness the techniques that make Don the greatest storyteller in America, as Simon Sinek and John Maxwell have said time and time again. If you want to learn more, visit donyaeger.com/storytelling to reach out to our team.
What do most Fortune 500 executives have in common? After more than 100 episodes recorded with those very executives from companies like Disney, Amazon, Netflix, Cigna, and Google, the answer is clear. They learned lessons in leadership from the fields and courts of their high school and collegiate sports teams. Some of our guests' athletic experience earned them a place in their sports Hall of Fame, like Chick-fil-A Chairman Dan Cathy. Some hung up their cleats after high school, like Delta Airlines CEO Ed Bastian, while others, like Condoleezza Rice, claimed they were terrible in their sport. But no matter their skill level, they have all told me that being a part of a team taught them lessons they still use as leaders today. In partnership with Maxwell Leadership, I'm your host, Don Yaeger, here to give you an all-access pass to genuine, authentic, fireside chat-like conversations with today's business icons so that you can create powerful, positive change in your own organization. This is Corporate Competitor Podcast. With me for today's episode is David Tyree, a name synonymous with one of the most iconic moments in Super Bowl history, the helmet catch. The play led to the New York Giants' third world championship in franchise history and brought a would-be undefeated season by the Patriots to a close. David's journey from humble beginnings in New Jersey to the NFL is a testament to his unwavering dedication and passion for the game. While his professional career may be defined by a single remarkable catch, David's impact extends far beyond that one moment. Today, he is the owner of DT3 Enterprises and hosts his own podcast called Catch the Moment. Remember to download your bonus resource from corporatecompetitorpodcast.com/167 for notes and reflection questions from today's episode.
Humility is key. It's not the most pursued and attractive quality because everybody wants to be a winner. Most people don't know how to be a winner without extracting their ego. My simplest definition of humility is to be teachable. There's no losses, there's lessons. Just being honest, like removing excuses, being honest about who you are as an individual, what you're really good at, but at the same time, not creating excuses and not being complacent.
David, thanks for joining us.
Down a thrill to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, I have always loved your story, and the idea that we get the chance to sit and talk about it today together really is meaningful for me. You're the kind of story that just makes the rest of us get fired up.
Absolutely.
So I want to set the scene for our listeners who might not have been watching Super Bowl 42. How screwed up would that be? Your New York Giants coming into the game, you're facing an undefeated New England Patriots team who at the time was chasing history, trying to become the second team ever to finish the season unbeaten. And many were calling that Patriots the best team in history. All you can hear, all the noise was, you guys have no chance. How do you and the team mentally prepare for that kind of narrative, that kind of pressure?
There's two B words that I kind of use that I think summarize the opportunity that exists every day, and it's believing and belonging. I think the team innately cultivated enough belief in our ability to not just be there and beat the team, but we believe that we belong. We believe that we belong at this great stage and had the opportunity to win. Obviously, anyone who followed that entire NFL season narrative, we actually lost to the Patriots the last regular season of the game. There was blood in the water. They were that good of a football team where they beat us to go undefeated in the regular season. This was our opportunity. I've never looked at myself as anything less than a winner. The road to quantify that win is when you wake up every single day and do the very thing that it takes to become a winner. Every single day won't feel like a win. The approach that you have to take, the practice, the work, the cadence, the repetitions, that is what the winning mindset is. So at the close of each day, you have to leave it where it is and reset the clock every single day. That's what it is in a game, in a play, in a season. Football is a unique sport that requires so many different people to be on their job just to find success in one play. But that same mindset has to be put away to attack the next play.
Reset the clock every single day. Sometimes you have to reset it in the middle of a game, between plays or between series.
That's what's so powerful. I've always said self-awareness is my superpower. And I think we knew who we were as a team. There's always individual stories that encapsulate team dynamics. There's superstars. There's role players, myself. There's the intuitive nature of seizing a moment. That's what's so special about teams and organizations, how they can come together to do something significant. So the confidence goes because we're in the game. We have a chance. There's a probable opportunity for us to get the directed outcome and beating this undefeated Patriot team and making history, because at the end of the day, our goal was to win the championship. We didn't really care about what the New England Patriots' goals were. The season and any pursuit of anything significant is an endurance race, not a sprint. We wanted to ensure that we were going to finish to the end. That was our approach, our mindset, and we were able to execute.
Self-awareness is your superpower. I don't hear that one often. In that superpower, part of it is you weren't the superstar of the team. You had your role to play. Truth is, 99% of us are role players.
There you go.
How do you keep that self-awareness?
Humility is key. It's not the most pursued and attractive quality because everybody wants to be a winner. And most people don't know how to be a winner without extracting their ego. That's obviously some of the toxicity that can exist amongst teams and organizations. My simplest definition of humility is to be teachable. To be teachable, assess yourself. There's no losses, there's lessons. If I can't meet the goal, run the route the right way, catch the football, I have to take ownership of that moment. I have to be able to assess what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. That is a true definition of being honest, just being honest. Like removing excuses, being honest about who you are as an individual, what you're really good at, but at the same time, not creating excuses and not being complacent. I believe contentment is another form of a superpower. Complacency is the enemy to progress. That kind of self-awareness is really what gives you the opportunity to position yourself to do what you do really well and create a strategy on how you're going to improve and supplement some of those weaknesses along the way.
That's so powerful. But then you have one of the most memorable moments in Super Bowl history. Less than 2 minutes left in the game. You catch a ball on third down by pinning against your helmet with one hand. It led to the go-ahead touchdown, win the game 17-14. But leading up to the game, there was a challenging practice that occurred that almost would make most observers say, this couldn't happen.
Yeah, it was. It was probably the worst practice as a receiver of my life, sir.
You were just dropping balls or what?
Man, listen, I didn't drop everything, but I dropped everything. By the measure of an NFL receiver, my goal was to finish the practice, be better, and it just didn't work out. You have to leave this right here. I have to be able to live with the results without tormenting myself and be able to position myself to flourish and function, to be at my optimal space the very next day.
Reset the clock.
Got to reset the clock because I know that I belong on the stage and I know that I will deliver when the lights are on. Eli approached me after that Friday practice saying, I know you'll be ready. And we got great done together and got the monkey off of that.
The leader of the team sought you out.
He did. I think it was a big hurdle for him in his leadership journey. That was his coming out year. He had rough struggles in New York, but obviously we caught some momentum and here we are. And I think we had this chemistry that existed because there was trust there. He took the time out. That wasn't a common thing, but he knew it was necessary in that moment.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the reason is or someone's performance, might be lacking, sometimes it's just a bad day. Sometimes there's an emotional reality going on in individual life. Now, we don't take the time to breathe life to someone who might be a little bit below standard, then we might lose their inextricably valuable contribution at whatever measure.
Can you share a story from a moment in practice, maybe the locker room, a game, when you watched his leadership really kind of pull others along?
Eli's leadership style was extremely quiet. What spoke volumes was how he went about his work every single day. His voice was not loud, but he seized those unique moments to fill a need. Every single day. You can count on him to be available, to have an even keel disposition, to be kind, to be friendly, and to be an advocate for his teammates. He never spoke ill of anyone. That is the legacy of Eli Manning, and that was true from the first day he became a Giant to the last day.
Wow. I love that consistency. It's a skill.
It is.
Human nature is to go up and down as moments go up and down. To be able to stay even keeled, there's an art to that.
That was his truest leadership quality, was his consistency and character, as well as contribution. Values anchor us and give us a sense of purpose and a framework that will allow us to be true to ourselves and valuable within a community. Values are what determine your value. That was what the Eli Manning example was. He never got out of bounds from who he felt he was, who people felt he should be. We never want to be too stuck to the point where it becomes a detriment. But I think when you're honest, you're true, you're consistent, and you do have a unique value contribution, people will appreciate that and adapt and find the sweet spot.
I love it. You've said there are 3 things that you brought to the field every day of your career: grit, grind, and availability. Let's talk grit. What can you share with me there?
Grit is really tied to having a long-term goal. It's an endurance mindset, the grind mentality. When rope-a-dope Muhammad Ali, I'm going to let this person wear themselves out. I believe that I'm positioned for something more valuable. There's a sense of mission and endurance that goes along with grit. And I do believe it can be cultivated through a growth mindset. You have to be actively engaged in your improvement process.
An endurance mindset. It's a reset of the clock. You beat yourself up. You spend a little too much time tormenting yourself. No question.
There you go.
The next one was grind. We'd love to go back and look at high school yearbooks. We found there's some smooth pictures of you, not a single gray hair in that picture. But I read a quote from your coach, Ed Labita.
Yeah.
He said it could be 35 degrees or 95 degrees. He would leave the field every day sweating. It's hard to teach that kind of work ethic. So how could I inspire that kind of work ethic?
What's imperative is to have a standard. You can't demand what you have not put to task yourself. Everybody has a different starting point. Everybody has a little bit of a different toolbox. My work ethic was very much tied to my perception of so many others being better than me. I never was threatened by the idea that someone could be better than me. I just knew that I had to get on the field. When I think about work ethic, you have to assess what the goal is. The goal is to be a contributor and to be a valuable asset to a team. That transfers directly to any work environment. How are you going to be a valuable asset to this team? And everybody wants to win. What's different about business is we define what a win is from day to day, from objectives to goals, values, and missions, sales. But at the end of the day, we're defining those wins. What's the priority? What's the priority within your culture, within your organization? I know there's conversation for the last 20 years between millennials and the emerging generations and the digital natives. Everybody wants to work smarter. Well, now our advances have created conveniences where now we have to learn how to work hard because there's no replacement for diligence. There's no replacement for those attributes that are going to cause long-term success. Now that we've optimized at the highest level through our technology and our efficiencies, we still have to work hard.
Right.
Your work ethic is very much tied to understanding you have a unique value and your effort is needed to bring this team to the top.
Now we got to go back and teach hard work. Smart work's looking good. Let's try to go to a little bit of hard work. Now, the last one is availability.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Parcells' famous saying was, the greatest ability of all is availability.
Correct.
What do you do to create availability?
I would have had zero opportunity playing the National Football League if I didn't see value in being a special teams player. I will become available for that because I have to make an impact. Availability is the best availability. You have to want to be a part of something. You have to make yourself available. Now, each individual gets to choose that. But guess what? You're going to have to find your way into some kind of arena where you deem that a valuable place to make yourself. You can't dictate the terms of every opportunity if you're going to find true long-term success. We have to align our life with our value system. So I do believe that's first and foremost, but we also have to ensure that there's a buy-in within any community. What I consider availability, you have to be all in before you can get the day off. You know, a sense of interest and availability is really what creates opportunities. And all you can ask for is an opportunity. All you can ask for is an opportunity to prove yourself to be exactly who you say you are. And if it's less than what you desire, then it's your personal responsibility to up the ante and prove that you have an increased value proposition. Everybody's looking for hard, committed, dynamic workers in the marketplace, and everyone likes to position themselves like that. And I think everybody wants to win. There's a gap that has to be filled, and I believe it's in some of these areas.
I love that you make that point that everybody wants to win. There's some today that you hear in some discussion points, well, they don't really want to win. I don't believe that. I think innately people are born to win. We want to be successful. And when we're not, somebody needs to help pull us along. So in conversation with a lot of championship performers, and I've been blessed to work with a number, many of them say there was someone who they often thought of in challenging moments. When pushing beyond is required, they're doing it for someone else. There's a family member or maybe a coach. I understand that for you, having a son was a real turning moment for you. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I think it was probably the most transformative moment of my life, maybe aside from my faith, period. My faith in Christ, and then number two is the arrival of William Robert Tyree as 21 years old in Syracuse, New York.
Mm-hmm.
At that moment, you're a high-performing athlete with a high-performance mindset, but your life is centered and grounded around you. It's around you and your success story and your success journey. And up to that point, that's all that really mattered. While I was definitely considered and respectful of others, Taylor's arrival really gave me a new dream and a new vision because I had to figure out how I was going to care for this human. That's one of those significant contributors to someone's leadership journey. When it's no longer about you, when you have a sense of purpose and a mission that extends beyond you as an individual. My dream was to go to Division I and play college football. I was living my dream and I wasn't satisfied because I didn't feel like I was thriving. Well, now I have a son and now I have a new dream because I want to provide for him. So at every time I went to the line of scrimmage, I had an image of this beautiful young man that was in my head. I had a new motivation. So he became the targeting point of my visualization, my motivation. I was disciplined as an athlete, of course. I was goal-oriented as an athlete, of course, but I had a fresh fire in relation to my desire to excel and do well. Every opportunity to be on the field was an opportunity to create a new world and a safe place for my son.
Tom Brady would wish that you didn't have that visual.
Yeah.
So you've said that the most important part of sports is the social aspect.
Sure.
Sports taught you how to collaborate with others, even tolerate people that you didn't necessarily get along with. Talk to me about the keys to developing collaboration and managing dysfunction like that.
Sports is a unique space that creates a mission in life. Like the whole reason why we play games is to win. I'm very clear on that.
But you didn't play for the participation trophy?
No. It's one of the worst things that's ever happened. But you won't, and you don't have to like every single person. You actually might vehemently dislike someone, but you can still respect them. You can respect them as a human. You can respect their contributions to cause that you serve as well. I don't have to like you as a person to respect your contribution. What I do respect about an individual is what I focus on. That's what I focus on. I focus on the fact that they show up and they work hard on this team. I focus on the fact that they do this job, not because they speak so eloquently, not because they like the same kind of music, not because they agree with my political point, my value, or my beliefs. I focus on what unites us. And that is where I focus the energy that allows me to respect them and eventually build a bridge that maybe I can understand them better. Understanding is the most essential element of any relationship, because even if you're a great communicator or you're a dynamic contributor, if I can't understand that, then it doesn't connect to my heart. The whole reason we play games is to win. Having a winning mindset serves us in every area of life. The locker room creates this unique area where people from all walks of life, all social classes and ecosystems come together to win. And we all add something different from our background, our stories, our successes. No one should feel bad about being successful. No one should feel bad about being wealthy. No one should feel bad about being poor. That's what you were. That's what made you uniquely you. We have to learn how to celebrate and elevate each and every story because they're necessary, and the contributions that can be had and shared when we come together is what formulates bonds and unites hearts in a way where we can share those stories and still contribute toward those wins, those avenues, but also create relationships that last a lifetime. Sports gives that naturally in that unique setting because we know that the only reason we're coming together is to win, to galvanize and to do our best and get the goal done.
It's so powerful and so important to realize that we don't have to like everybody to build a team, but we do have to appreciate and understand them in order to be able to build out that collective mindset.
The undercurrent to truth is honesty. Transparency is the drawbridge to connection and trust.
Oh, I like that.
That is really what creates the opportunity for people to be seen, and feel value. And where we have trust, then we can lead to transformation, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to win. They want to grow. They want to progress. As much as there are value systems in my own heart, it's actually a process. True transparency will lead us to transformation. It will lead us to growth. It will lead us to a place of impact. That's who I am, and that's who we are.
I like it. You know, knowing your background, knowing as a kid, you were one mistake away from a life in juvie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here we are years later, Super Bowl championship and the opportunity to coach other people. That's pretty awesome. In the corporate world, too often the word teams is overused. A lot of these organizations are not teams. They're just working together and that's it.
Yep.
But you've been a part of teams. You've been in part of successful teams. If you were coaching a young leader on how to take a group of individuals and bond them together to the place that they actually deserve the word team, give me some elements that you would try to coach me into, things that I need to think about as I build a group of people together to create a team.
There's two things that you actually need to build a dynamic team. And the first one is care. You actually have to care. You have to care about the individuals. You have to care about what is required within the sense of mission and value. You have to care. The next thing that you need is consideration. You have to consider the individuals and who they are as individuals. What makes them who they are? You actually kind of have to invest. And it's not super deep as research. It's to care enough to listen and prove that you listen in a manner where you can now offer the value that they're actually looking for to empower them as well as inspire them. So I believe that care and consideration are the overarching two principles that will really equip someone to be a dynamic leader. You have to care about the individual, you have to care about the mission. Then you have to take the next layer to consider, okay, well, what do they need? What are they overcoming? What might they be missing or need to make them a dynamic contributor? Care and consideration are two valuable.
And then as you bring those two things together on behalf of the individual piece parts of your team, you begin helping them form themselves into one.
That is correct. One of my favorite tools that I've used with my athletes and clients as well. I'm Judgment Index certified. I really love the axiom that gives us a true sense of a measure of, okay, who we are, where our liabilities might hinder us, because some of our strengths can become a liability because it can create a blind spot. So we like to unpack the entire individual. When you know who we have as individuals, you can create better teams.
I like it. David, those who are listening have any desire to reach out, understand more about your company, what you guys are doing, what are ways that they should stay in touch?
Oh, sure. The website, enough intake information there. We're going to constantly be improving that. DavidTyree85.com. Pretty active on LinkedIn as well and Instagram. So just reach out. We want to serve and help as many people as we can, and use the Helmet Catch to continue to uplift, inspire, and equip any community that would be willing to help us.
We've lost a lot of New England Patriots guests today while doing this podcast. David, thank you so much again for being a teammate.
No, I really appreciate you having me, and I look forward to having you on Catch the Bowl. Talk soon, buddy.
I know that you gained as many good nuggets as I did, but I picked 3 that I'm going to share with you here at the end of this session. First off, I loved the discussion about the importance of resetting the clock every day, every down. You have to reset the clock. What you did yesterday, what you achieved previously doesn't matter. All that matters is what are you doing right now? Resetting the clock also allowed him to go from what he declared was the worst practice he ever had in his life. He dropped 5 balls during the course of that practice, which would in many ways cause everyone around him to lose confidence. But because he reset the clock, he was able to be available and be an incredible participant in that Super Bowl 42. The second real takeaway for me was the 3 things he believed he brought to the field, brought to work every day. 3 things we can all use. Number 1, grit. Number 2, grind. And number 3, availability. He had a full understanding of who he was. He didn't believe himself to be a superstar. He knew that he had to be the guy that brought these 3 things to the field every day. And they allowed him to make a career out of his time in the NFL. The 3 really all stood out, but the last one caught my attention, the importance of availability. He was a wide receiver. Could have said, hey, I'm the number 3 wide receiver on this team. I don't want to play special teams. But no, he actually said, I'll do anything you ask of me. I will make myself available to do anything you ask of me. And as a result, the opportunity gave him a career that gave him the opportunity to create a moment of success that many of us will never forget. And finally, the leadership lesson he learned from Eli Manning, and the idea that after the practice, Eli Manning didn't walk past him, didn't ignore him. Eli Manning came up to him and said, hey, I get it. That was tough. Not a good practice. Let's acknowledge it, but let's know, both of us, that you're ready. You belong on the field tomorrow, and great things are going to happen. He called it a huge step in Eli's leadership journey, and Eli has referred to it as well. Sometimes, he said, you have to breathe life into others so that you don't lose them. Great leadership lesson that is for each of us. I'm a better leader today for having had this conversation. I hope you are too, on your journey to be a corporate competitor. If you could share one habit, one thing you've done consistently that allowed you to separate yourself from your competitors, what would it be? In my 30-year career, 2,500 of the greatest athletes, coaches, and leaders answered that question for me.
This is Don Yeager, who did that article I was telling you about.
Don, Dave Sims with Coach K. How you doing?
Hey, Don. How you doing, my man? Great, sir. How are
What they gave to me is what I'm giving to you in my online course, Journey to Greatness. Through engaging storytelling and on-demand videos, you will learn the 16 habits that will jumpstart your personal growth. I will instruct you on how to apply these winning characteristics to your life through custom workbook exercises. We are slashing the price for our podcast listeners. Lifetime access to Journey to Greatness is normally $399, but for our podcast listeners, it will be $49 with the code podcast at checkout. Click the banner on corporatecompetitorpodcast.com to enroll. I appreciate you.